Guys, welcome to another video. And this one is a really important one because a lot of guys go through this right now, and it's something that I've gone through in the past. And it's something that actually holds you back way more than you think. And that is the all or nothing mindset. In this video, we're going to go over that and what exactly it is, and most importantly, how we break free from it for good. So, what is the all or nothing mindset? So it's the belief that if it's not perfect, it doesn't count, i.e., missing one meal and thinking my day's ruined, and going off on a tangent with food, skipping a session and then thinking, "Oh, what's the point now? I've missed one session, so I may as well not go for the rest of the week." Having a takeaway one night after a stressful day of work, you think, "Oh, I may as well sack the whole weekend off now because I've had this bit of bad food." And how it keeps you stuck. So you keep starting over. You never build momentum and you live in cycles of extremes. You go 1 week of all out extreme dieting, 5, 6 days a week at the gym, and then you have one off day and you go back to square one. You sack it all off, and then that next week you do nothing. So you're constantly in this cycle of extremes. But the key thing here is that your confidence drops every time you fail. Because in your own head, you think that if you're not perfect, you've failed. And you have the belief that having discipline means perfection. And that simply isn't the case. And the big thing with this as well is that you never actually build the momentum because it's constantly stop start through them extreme cycles. And that keeps you stuck for so long. So where does this sort of mindset come from? And it comes from the diet culture that's pushed on social media these days in the fitness industry. Cheat days, restrictive eating. Because the sounding of a cheat day makes you think that you restrict yourself so much throughout the week, and then the cheat day is almost like you just let go and just go absolutely crazy. But this really creates the negative relationship with food where you demonize certain food groups, and then it leads you just to go absolutely wild because you restrict and restrict and you restrict, and then for one day you just eat everything in sight. It also comes from it kind of ties into this, but fitness advice built around restriction and not sustainability. So I always teach my clients a very sustainable approach. We include a higher day at the weekends to allow for a little bit more food that we enjoy, and we always include an off plan meal once a week, just to create that sustainability. And that doesn't mean throughout the week we can't have a little bit of chocolate here and there, as long as it fits into the calories that I'm setting them. So it also comes from perfectionism as well. It's rooted in the fear of not being good enough. You think that to get to where you want to be, you have to be perfect. And that just simply isn't the case. And as well, like no one's ever taught you how to be consistent. All you've known is from seeing on social media is these guys in amazing shape, and they go on about how you can't eat chocolate and the likes of Eddie Abu. In terms of some of his messaging, I agree in terms of eating whole nutritious foods, but some of the stuff that he says about chocolate and carbs is absolutely nonsense, and it actually causes people to have quite a negative relationship with food. The concept of what he's saying in terms of eating eggs, loads of steak, yeah, amazing, but that doesn't mean you can't have a little bit of junk here and there. So what did it look like for me, and why I wanted to talk about this so much, because I have been the person that's gone through this, and I've touched upon it in some of my short videos on Instagram. But I used to underfuel throughout the week. I used to restrict so badly, and that caused me to binge at the weekends. And although it didn't make me get fat or anything like that, it caused me just to not progress at all, because I'd be underfueling so much throughout the week and then going crazy and heavy on calories at the weekend. My body would just average out. So I'd just be in like a calorie maintenance because there's been an extreme deficit during the week, and then a calorie surplus during the weekend. And then I used to say if I'd fell off one day, that'd be it for the week. I'd be like, oh, I've fallen off now, so I may as well start again on Monday. It's just a shocking mentality, really, when I look back, and it held me back so much. And I also thought that, as I touched upon before, that discipline meant doing it perfectly. And that really isn't the case. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. And that's something that a lot of guys get mixed up. So what to do instead? We structure off-plan meals. So, for example, if you know you've got an event on the weekend, we structure that and we plan ahead. So maybe we reduce calories a little bit. For example, you're going out on Saturday and you know you're going to be probably over consuming. So you'll just pull back on calories, say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just to give yourself more sort of wiggle room. Don't try to be 100% because it stresses you out. If you're constantly in your head thinking you need to be perfect, internally that's going to stress you out so much. And then the slightest bit of going off routine slightly, or eating something that in your head you shouldn't have eaten, that causes you to completely fall off. Also, we've got to let go of the start Monday mentality, because that's almost telling yourself that it's fine to just let loose Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you can just reset on Monday. But that's actually the main problem, is because you think you have to like almost restrict yourself so heavily, and then that the weekend is the time where you let loose, and then you just go back to things on Monday. But you want a sustainable approach 7 days a week, so including the foods that you enjoy into your nutrition, and you can absolutely do that. Doesn't mean you have to be eating chicken, rice, and broccoli out of a Tupperware. That's simply not the case. So let go of that start Monday mentality, and then plan ahead as well. So like I was saying before, with having events at the weekend, just plan ahead and be a little bit wise. So don't go absolutely mental when if you're working towards a goal. It's obviously common sense not to go absolutely crazy when you go to an event and just go in, hell for leather. But plan it in advance. As I said, reduce your calories maybe 3 or 4 days before, so you've got extra calories to play with when you do go out. And then what happens when you break this mindset? You stop falling off for good. You feel more in control. Confidence builds because you're consistent. Think about it. If you're consistent across 7 days, and you're not going in these extreme cycles from like restricting to binging, how much confidence is that gonna bring? It's gonna drastically improve your confidence. Progress is gonna start to stick with you because you're not going in these extreme cycles. You've got quite a linear approach throughout. And this is where you start to build real belief in yourself, because you believe that you can actually stick to something. And again, like the feeling of when you actually feel in control, you feel like it's in your hands, you know where you're going, you know what you need to do. And when, again, like with the progress, you'll just start seeing major progress compared to what you was. Because think about it, your body's gone from just sort of maintaining, not really doing much. And then when you break free, this is where you excel. And how I coach clients for it. So it's three things: structure, education, and sustainability. So with the structure side of things, structure and routine is so important, all right? And knowing the plan for the week, knowing how many calories you're on, protein targets, structuring your training days, your non-training days, your cardio, going into every week with a strategy, knowing what what you're going to be doing allows you to never have to worry about going through that cycle of extremes. Because again, if you know that you've got a few more calories to play with, the weekends, you can include a few things that you enjoy throughout the week. In your own head, you don't think, oh, to get to my goal, I'm going to have to restrict so badly. And then the education side of things as well. So I like to teach my clients why. It's not just, here's a plan, get on with it. I always like to explain, for example, in check-ins, why we do it. So for example, I like to give my clients a higher day on a weekend, higher calorie day on a Saturday, for example. Why? Because it creates a psychological break. So, for example, if a client's on 2,200 calories Sunday to Friday, and I'll put them on a maintenance day on Saturday, for example, like 2,800, because then they've got a little bit more room to play with. So if I told them, oh, you have to be on 2,200 7 days, it's going to feel really, really restrictive to them. And it's going to make them feel like they can't have any foods potentially that they enjoy. So having that higher day, which is still a maintenance day, so it doesn't mean going absolutely crazy and free for all, but it just allows them to incorporate more of the foods that they enjoy. So it's a bit of a psychological break. And then sustainability as well. So I don't like to put my clients through absolute extreme dieting phases, like dropping calories below 2,000 and going no carbs or anything like that, because that doesn't create a good relationship with food. It creates a very, very, very restrictive relationship with food, and a very, again, all or nothing mindset with food. And that's something that I've had before, like when I prepped for a show in the past. I was very young at the time, like 20, 21, and it was so restrictive, and I dieted way too early. And I was ready for this show, but I was with a coach and I couldn't really put my food up. And that just led me to go absolutely mental, because my head just went. I didn't end up doing the show. I ended up going on crazy binges and put on like 10 kg in a few weeks. So the sort of the message of this video is, don't get out of the mindset of if you fall off, or you have a takeaway midweek, or you miss one session, it doesn't mean that it's all over. Not at all. Just get back on it the next day. If you don't go to the gym tonight because you've had a shit day at work, just don't worry. Get on with it. Next day, it's a new day. It doesn't mean, oh, it's Thursday now, I'm just going to sack it off till Monday. Or, for example, you order a takeaway tonight. Because I get it, life gets in the way. You might feel a little bit stressed. We don't expect to be perfect all the time. And you might have just had a really shit day at work. And you're like, right, can't be arsed cooking, let's order a takeaway. But have your takeaway and get back on it tomorrow. Not, oh, it's Thursday, it's Friday tomorrow, then it's the weekend, so I'll just restart on Monday. Because then that's 4 days of sacking it off. 4 days of probably eating way more than you should. And then that, again, it's that stop-start cycle. What's going to hold you back long term? So if you took value from this video, drop it a like. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more of these sort of educational videos and talking about subjects that I'm really passionate about. And again, on my Instagram as well. Although I like to give a lot of information on Instagram, this YouTube allows me to go in a little bit more depth, because on a reel, I've got 30 to 60 seconds, for example. Whereas here, I can ramble on for 14, 15 minutes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.